welcome to the Fundraising Partnership Podcast with me, Ross Wigan, where we talk about all things to do with charity lotteries, regular giving and face-to-face fundraising. In this episode, we're going to explore the idea around whether increasing the cost of entry for a lottery makes sense, or if there's more organic ways of increasing the income that you can generate without changing the price point. Way back in the dark ages, 1994 saw the launch of the National Lottery. Huge public interest in lotteries at that time. Prizes were front page news, and the draw, it was a prime time TV. And these £1 tickets, were the talk of the town. It was a little bit like that scene out of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, where the whole country was searching for that winning ticket. The spotlight was truly on lotteries, and as we do in fundraising, when we see the potential to use a current trend to benefit our great charitable causes, the charity lottery pioneers, they were out in full force. The hospice sector, they were probably one of the first to fully embrace launching their own lottery draws, with swathes of hospices launching lotteries in 1996, 1997 to raise funds for their own amazing care. The hospice sector, they've even got their own lottery governing body, the Hospice Lottery Association, where they join together for best practice, information sharing and a jolly good knees up at the annual conference. The charity lottery sector raise hundreds of millions of pounds annually from these £1 weekly draws, and billions have been raised since the mid-90s when these charity lotteries really came to the fore. Excuse the pun, but lotteries really are a winning formula. However, over the last few years, there's a desire and a need for charities to raise more funds. And let's face it, a £1 coin isn't worth the same amount as it was back in the mid to late 90s. We've seen a move away, in some cases, from £1 lotteries. The National Lottery, they've increased their cost to £2 a ticket now. And we've seen some charities do the same. We've seen an introduction of a £5 per month payment for 4 weekly draws. So they round up the old £4.34 monthly subscription with the extra 66 pence going into a separate bonus draw. You name it, the fundraising sector are trying it out. Some are using this 66p as a donation, which is gift aided, whilst others are launching a £10 per month draw with one draw in the month rather than the traditional weekly model. My question is, why? Especially when we see the National Lottery are now stating they are changing the cost of a lottery ticket back to £1. And I quote, "They're doing this to bring back the magic and breathe fresh life into the draw." Now, we don't exactly know what's going to happen with the National Lottery, but they have said that the £1 lottery draw is coming back. Whether they will scrap the £2 entry price and reduce that back down to £1, or whether they're introducing a new £1 weekly draw, we've seen that move to £2 simply hasn't worked for them. So why are we, as the charity sector, obsessed with changing what we know is a winning formula? Has anyone really sat back and truly looked at the benefits and then looked at their personal reasons for wanting to change? There have been several charity lotteries who have massively regretted changing the price point of their weekly draw. It caused a huge drop in weekly players who had to increase their monthly donations, And this far outweighed the gain in additional income from those who stayed, or from the new donors who were joining. It begs the question, is the change in cost, the change in prize structure, or the addition of new extra games, is it led by supporter insight, or the desire for the lottery to try something new? We've spoken with several charities who've made this move to change their prize point, and I would be really interested to talk to more who've decided to make this leap, to find out what their motives were, to find out who was it that did the market research to show what their supporters actually wanted. What was the reasoning behind the change? Was it to increase revenue? Was it to increase the number of prizes or the value of prize money on offer? Was it a desire for their draw to stand out amongst the £1 crowd? I've not done this research myself. I never really looked into changing the foundations for the Sue Ryder Lottery when I was there. So I'm not saying anyone who's done this or is thinking about doing this is wrong. Without doing the research myself and without speaking with the supporters of that lottery, that would be an incorrect assumption for me to jump to. Even if the National Lottery are now realising that increased ticket cost does not necessarily lead to increased income or increased ticket sales. But I think that makes it now the perfect time for us as the charity sector to be asking ourselves the question, does the market want this? Or am I changing things out of a personal desire to innovate? Here's what my counter-argument would be for anyone thinking about making a change to the cost of their tickets. For those simply needing an increase in income for their charity, if your lottery is now going to cost £8.68 a month, as it's going to be a £2 per week ticket, anyone who's willing to give you £10 a month, very close to £10 a month, would be probably more than willing to sign up to be a regular giver, where their donation can be gift aided and worth 25% more to the charity. Surely wouldn't that be a better benefit to the charity than a £2 entry ticket? A £2 blanket ask for a lottery, you're approaching regular giving territory. And yes, of course, as a face-to-face agency, we ask the right age profiles if they would like to take out 2 lottery tickets a week. And that does cost £8.68 a month. And the right age profile donors who have financial stability, a lot of them are more than willing to commit to a lottery gift of this value. But there's a key difference here. This is for 2 lottery tickets, double the chances. It's still only £1 per ticket. But if you want a £2 lottery, why not simply increase the ask to make people, the right people, ask the right people to take out 2 weekly entries? We've got loads of data that we look at here, and the data shows that donors with 2 lottery tickets cancel quicker than those with 1. In the vast majority of age ranges, there might be a couple of 5-year age bands that we have where this might not be the case, but as a general rule of thumb, £2 weekly entries or £8.68 per month cancel at a higher rate. Now, that's not to say that the right age profile isn't more valuable to a charity at £2 per week. The fact that they're donating at twice the value and have only a slightly higher cancellation rate means that certain donors in the older age profiles have a higher net value to you as a charity. But should we be forcing every donor into a £2 lottery? Or should we just ask the right people to buy 2 £1 lottery entries? I say this because donors under 40 taking out a £2 weekly gift have such a high cancellation rate, and when you take into account the cost to acquire them as a donor, the high cancellation rate, the high cost to recruit them for a double entry, With that, even with that higher gift rate, they barely make you any return over a 5-year period because they cancel at such high rates. If we give the right donor the choice of the right gift value, you're organically going to maximise your income. A £1 lottery with one ticket or two tickets for the right donor, or a regular gift with gift aid, you've got more control over your quality than you do if you have a blanket £2 lottery ask. So now comes the part about prize money. For those of you that are looking to increase the cost of your tickets so that you increase the value of prizes on offer, there's market research done by other charities that shows your existing lottery players don't even know what the lottery prize money is. Most state that they even intended to give any winnings back to the charity anyway. We may think that we need a big prize pot, but your supporters don't. If your supporters intended to give the prize money back anyway, wouldn't the obvious choice be to migrate those donors onto a regular gift where you can claim gift aid on the donations? There's your increase in income. The other point here is, how much of a change in prize money are you actually making? A top prize rising from £1,000 to £2,000. Neither of those amounts are life-changing amounts of money. Don't get me wrong, I'd much prefer to win £2,000 than £1,000, but is it going to make the psychological difference between me signing up or not? The barrier of prizes being noticeably bigger only happens when you go to around £10,000. It's that extra zero. That extra zero makes the difference. So before you look at increasing your prize money, ask your lottery players what they think. Do the market research and follow what they say and not what you want them to say. As for standing out in the crowd, well, are you promoting a lottery or are you promoting your cause? There are thousands of charity lotteries to choose from, but all of the evidence points to the fact that donors who support your cause, they don't do it because of the lottery or the prizes. Real donors, the ones who go on and leave you a legacy, they support you because of the amazing work that your charity does, not because of the prize money. Prize-orientated players, they're simply that, players. They play a lottery and don't support your cause. What you want is for those donors to be there for a lifetime of giving, not for people who'll play for a few weeks and then move on when they haven't won. Promote your cause over your prizes, you'll recruit a better quality of donor and you will see that increase in lifetime value. I personally feel that there needs to be a change in mindset. Let's stop thinking short term and start thinking about how our fundraising can generate a pipeline of regular gifts, be that lottery or regular giving. But it's also creating a pipeline of future legacy givers. The legacy potential that we have when recruiting the right donor is going to eclipse the short-term income game from increasing the cost of a lottery ticket or fiddling about with the game structure or adding in new prizes. Let's take a step back and see if we can think a little bit longer term about where our fundraising efforts are actually heading. Now, before I finish this episode, I think it's important that I address the newer lotteries coming onto the market, the new ones with the monthly draw. So these have a higher entry price point and significantly higher prize money. These, for me, are potentially worth us investigating a little bit more and thinking a little bit more about, simply because of the monthly element of the draw. It condenses the amount of work for you or for your ELM. It slows things down rather than the rush for weekly deadlines, and as such, your prize money is going to be higher, as both the price point is higher, but the weekly prize money is condensed into one draw. I still think that there's an argument to say that rather than a £10 draw, could you be asking that person to donate £10 through a regular gift and then gift aid it, which actually makes it worth £12.50? There's no draw fees, there's no prize money to pay out, and there's less compliance with the Gambling Commission. But in all honesty, I haven't really made my mind up yet on the monthly draws, and I'm really interested to see where these draws are and where they're heading over the coming years. We've got ELMs like Be Ethical, who I've personally worked with in the past, and they are a fantastic team. I've really enjoyed working with them a lot. So let's see if their monthly draw that they've got introduced, see if that change can finally knock the £1 weekly draw off its pedestal. That's it for me this episode, folks. Please consider subscribing to the podcast, share it amongst your professional connections, and look out for more content coming soon.